Today we are going to start discussing a very, very interesting section of Caitanya Charitamrita. That is, we're going to read from Lord Caitanya's teachings to Sanātana Goswami. I'm going to read the instructions and explain to all of you in a very easy manner. So, in all our ISKCON temples, the first item every day is the singing of prayers to the spiritual master. This is known as the Samsara prayers. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has said, every devotee must chant the Samsara prayer 3 times a day. So, even if you're staying at home or wherever you are, you must develop the habit of chanting Samsara prayers every day. So first we'll do the Samsara prayers and then we'll go to the Caitanya Charitamrita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So today we would be discussing the 26 qualities that a devotee must develop, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has emphasized, and we shall also be reading from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanātana Goswami about the process of devotional service. So some verses I will read the Bengali, and some verses I will comment from the purport also. Rupa and Sanātana Goswami were very important ministers in the government of Nawab Hussain Shah, a Mohammedan ruler. Some of you may know that 500 years ago, India was the richest country on this planet. America may be the richest country on the planet today, but 300 years ago there was no America. I do not know if you know, but America was also discovered because Columbus was on his way to India to make his money, but he ended up in that part of the world which is today America. So when he landed over there, he said, "Oh, I've landed in India." Therefore in America they call the natives Red Indians. Yes. The Britishers made their wealth in India, the Muslims made their wealth in India, Alexander the Great went to get the wealth from India. So I'm just giving you a background to Rupa and Sanātana Goswami, and you will see that in few minutes, what the relationship is. So, India was the richest country on this planet, and within the country of India, the richest republic at that time was the Republic of Bengal. And Rupa Goswami and Sanātana Goswami were the 2 main people who were running that republic. Just like you may have the president and the prime minister running the Soviet Union, Rupa and Sanātana were running this richest republic in India 500 years ago. So definitely they were not ordinary people. They were holding such important position because the king, the Nawab, the king, he was just fond of hunting. So he was always going out conquering other areas, and the whole administration was done by Rupa and Sanātana. So Rupa Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first in Prayag, which is Allahabad. So when Rupa Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he fell at his feet and he said, "The whole society considers me to be very learned, but I do not even know who I am. 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐿. Please tell me, 𝐃𝐢𝐬𝐿, who I am. Who am I?" So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased by the surrender of Rupa Goswami, because Rupa Goswami was a very, very important man of society. And Sanātana Goswami, Rupa's brother, was also very attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Rupa Goswami resigned from his government job and joined Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Sanātana Goswami did not resign immediately. When Rupa Goswami resigned, the king did not want him to resign, but still the king accepted his resignation. But Sanātana Goswami, he did not resign, but he wanted to read the scriptures. So he hired about 20 Brahmins, and he was having those Brahmins in his room all day, and he was reading the scriptures, and he was telling the king that I am sick, I can't attend to my royal duties. The king said, this Sanātana was always so healthy. How is it that all of a sudden he has been sick for so many days? So the king said, let me send my special doctor to see what is really wrong with Sanātana. So the doctor, he broke into the room in Sanātana Goswami's house, and there he saw Sanātana with all these pundits and the scriptures piled up in front of him. And he saw that Sanātana was completely healthy. There was nothing wrong with him at all. So the king had Sanātana Goswami arrested. He said, your brother, he's become like a spiritual hippie. He became unresponsible. He has given up his duties. And now you also want to give it up? So he said, put him in jail. So when Sanātana was in jail, he got a letter from Rupa Goswami. The jailkeeper was a Mahamdan. So Sanātana Goswami first flattered him. He said, sir, you are a very learned man. I think you have complete knowledge of the Quran and other religious scriptures. So please, oh Miss Jailkeeper, release me. Help me get released from this prison. So Sanātana Goswami, as I told you, was previously like the Prime Minister. So Sanātana Goswami told the jailkeeper, I have done so much for you in the past, but now I'm in difficulty. So please, help me out. He said, here is 5,000 gold coins. Because Sanātana and Rupa were very rich, they had saved a lot of money. So Sanātana Goswami said, here are 5,000 gold coins. Please take it. Right now the king has gone to South India to fight an army, to fight another king. Tell the king when he returns that I had gone next to the Ganges to pass too, and I got drowned. Actually, he said he got drowned and washed away by the waves of the Ganga. So this way, Sanātana got released by the jailkeeper. He told him, what are you worried? I'm giving you 5,000 gold coins. Even if the king gets angry, you will retire. So you can retire. I'm giving you enough money. This way, Sanātana Goswami was released from the prison. Sanātana Goswami was running. And on the way, he stopped at a hotel to spend the night. The owner of the hotel, he had an astrologer with him. So every time somebody would come checking in the hotel, the astrologer would tell him how much money he has. So Sanātana Goswami had a servant with him. His name was Ishan. And this Ishan was carrying 8 gold coins with him. So the the hotel owner's advisor, the astrologer, had told him, this man is very rich. So the owner of the hotel, he was being very, very polite, very, very kind to Sanātana Goswami. So Sanātana Goswami, of course, was like a prime minister before, so he knew everything about the art of diplomacy. So Sanātana Goswami was very suspicious. He said, why is this man taking so much care of me? Must be he wants something from me. So Sanātana Goswami asked his servant, Ishan, are you carrying anything valuable with you? Ishan said, yes, I have 7 gold coins. Actually, he had 8, but he lied to Sanātana. He said, I have 7. So Sanātana Goswami took those 7 coins and took them to the owner of the hotel. Said, I have this present for you. Please take it. Because if you don't take it from me, somebody else will take it. Then the hotel owner said, if you would not have given me these coins today, I would have killed you in the night. Because I was told that you were carrying 8 gold coins. So thank you very much. So Sanātana Goswami, he was saved because he used his intelligence and he could detect that there was something fishy. Anyway, then he asked the owner was very happy. He said, okay, I will give you 4 watchmen who will help you to cross that tract of land. Because Sanātana was running from the king. So he was running not from the main roads, but from mountain tops where the king could not find him. On the way, Sanātana stopped in the house of his brother-in-law, whose name was Shrikant. So Shrikant was a very rich man. He was also like, Sanātana Goswami was from like a royal family. So Shrikant saw that Sanātana, his brother-in-law, who was like the prime minister, was running and he had a torn blanket. So he gave him a new blanket to wear. Finally, Sanātana Goswami arrived in Varanasi, Banaras, at the house of Chandrasekhar. So Sanātana Goswami arrived at the house of Chandrasekhar. Of course, Chandrasekhar did not know who Sanātana Goswami was. But as soon as Caitanya Mahaprabhu saw Sanātana Goswami, he went and embraced him. So this is the degree of love that Caitanya Mahaprabhu had for Sanātana Goswami. Just like when you go to the airport or railway station, sometimes they embrace your relatives, no? And they cry, okay. So when Sanātana Goswami met Caitanya Mahaprabhu, they embraced each other, and on each other's shoulders they were crying. But these were tears of ecstasy. Caitanya Mahaprabhu, when he embraced Sanātana, Sanātana said, "Don't please touch me, I'm contaminated." But Sanātana and Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, "No, you are capable of delivering the whole universe. By touching you, I'm getting purified." Caitanya Mahaprabhu said that saints like you can purify even the place of pilgrimage. Because generally, people go to place of pilgrimage for purification. Just like yesterday when I was telling you the story of Ajmer, I told you how in India there are so many places of pilgrimage like Haridwar, Rishikesh, Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka. India is full of places of pilgrimage. People generally go to these places of pilgrimage with the purpose of leaving behind their sinful activities. Just like people go to the church and they think they can leave behind their sinful activity and come out and commit fresh sins. Similarly, people go to places of pilgrimage thinking that now they can keep behind that burden of sin and they can come out and again start sinning. So these places of pilgrimage, they get burdened by the sins that people leave behind. So the saintly people like Sanātana Goswami, they can purify even the places of pilgrimage, because the places of pilgrimage have become overburdened by the sins left behind by the innumerable visitors. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Sanātana, by seeing you, by touching you, one can purify his senses and fulfill the goal of life." So this is Sanātana Goswami. This is a brief background to the elevated position that Sanātana Goswami had and what Caitanya Mahaprabhu considered him to be. So we are going to discuss today Caitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanātana Goswami. For 10 days non-stop, Caitanya Mahaprabhu instructed the process of devotional service to Sanātana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu says that the Vedas say that all of one's activity should be centered around Kṛṣna. Kṛṣna bhakti abhideya sarva shastra kaya. All of one's activity should be focused around Kṛṣna. This is the conclusion of all the Vedic literature. Just like you and I have a mother or had a mother, and the mother can tell us who the father is. Similarly, the Vedas are considered to be our mother. And the mothers can tell us who our father is. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, all the Vedas are saying, the Vedas were your mother, that Kṛṣna is the Father, the Supreme. Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanātana how Kṛṣna is always performing his transcendental pastimes in different universes. He performs pastimes both in the spiritual world and in the material worlds. The spiritual world are the Vaikuntha planets, and the material planets are the Brahmandas that are governed by Lord Brahma. And then the Lord expands himself. He expands himself in two ways. One is directly and one is through his energy. So the personal expansions of the Lord, they are known as Vishnu Tattva. And the separated expansions of the Lord are known as the Jiva Tattva. So Vishnu Tattva is when the Lord himself expands, like he expands into Balaram and so on. They are Vishnu Tattva. But Jiva Tattva is when you and I expand. We are also expansions of the Lord, but we are, as the Gita says, apayam itas vanantyam prakritim vidime param, we are part of the Lord's separate energy. So a living entity cannot be on the same level as Vishnu Tattva. So the bogus propaganda that we are God or we can become God should be smashed and defeated. Now, the living entities, Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained, can be divided into two categories. One is those who are eternally liberated, the other is those who are eternally conditioned. Those who are eternally liberated are always awake to Krishna consciousness, and they're always engaged in transcendental loving service to the Lord. They are the eternal associates of Krishna, and they're always enjoying transcendental bliss because they're serving Krishna. And then they are the eternally conditioned souls who are always rebelling against God. And because they're always rebelling against God, they are transmigrating from one body to another body. And because he's opposed to God, he's experiencing sevenfold miseries. Sevenfold miseries are what? Birth, that disease, old age, and Adi Devik, Adi Bodhik, Adhyatmik Klesha. The mind troubling me, the other living entities troubling us, and material nature troubling us. And the so-called eternally conditioned living entities, they become a servant of Mr. Lust. But Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, when these lusty desires are not satisfied, then the living entity becomes a servant of anger. And by wandering through so many different universes, so many different births, by chance, one comes in contact with a devotee of the Lord who gives him Bhakti Lata beat. Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagavano Ji, Guru Krishna Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata beat. By chance he gets the seed of devotional service. Kama Dinam Katina Katida Palita Durnidesha. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Lord, there is no limit to the lusty desires that a man may have. And although I have served these lusty desires for such a long time, still no satisfaction. Every time I serve these desires, they say, now give me little service, then I will stop bothering you. But again they start to bother me. It is thus like the child that tells the mother, please buy me this toy and now I will not trouble you anymore. But the mother buys the child the toy, the next day the child says, I want another toy. So the devotee prays, now due to spiritual intelligence, I'm not going to listen to the desires, to my lusty desires. Because it does not matter what I do, the lusty desires are never going to be satisfied in any case. So actually, this is a verse which Caitanya Mahaprabhu quoted, which is from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And in this verse, the devotee is praying to the Lord, my dear Lord, these material desires can never be satisfied. But now due to spiritual intelligence, I'm going to stop satisfying them. And I'm going to pray to you that you may please engage me in devotional service. So Prabhupada explains, this is exactly what we are doing when we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. We are praying to the Lord, please engage me in your service. There are different processes for realizing the Lord, like karma, jnana, yoga and bhakti. But unless one comes to bhakti, one cannot understand the Lord, one cannot achieve the Lord. Jnana is speculating on the Lord. Karma, you may follow the Vedic rituals, but you want some fruitive result. Yoga, you may perform some yogic exercises or austerities to get some yogic siddhis. But unless it is linked with Krishna, bhakti, it is all shrama eva hi kevalam, simply a waste of time. Bhagavatam says, Sāve punsa paro dharma yado bhakti adhokṣade ahitasya pratiyata yatmasya prasidati. The self can only be satisfied when we say to paro dharma, pure devotional service. You may even get the yogic siddhi. Like one yogic siddhi is, you can stretch your hands anywhere and lift anything from anywhere. So, by that yogic siddhi, you can stretch your hand from here to the bank in Moscow, the bank in Moscow. Take all the money out from somebody's pocket and bring it in your pocket and you won't even know about it. If you have that yogic siddhi, you can even stretch your hand to New York and lift the dollars instead of rubles and bring it into your pocket. But even if you do that, Bhagavatam says, you will not have any happiness. Is there anybody in this room who wants to have the yogic siddhi, that he can stretch his hands anywhere and lift anything from anyone's pocket without any problem? So, unless we come to the point of pure devotion, the living entity cannot be satisfied. I just want to inform all of you that the yogic siddhis, there are 8 types of yogic siddhis that one can obtain. And these yogic siddhis that the yogis can obtain, they are far superior to anything that modern scientists have ever done. One siddhi, you can become smaller than the smallest. In other words, you can become bigger than the biggest. You can stretch your hands anywhere. So these yogic siddhis are not ordinary yogic siddhis that you may go or get after going to a yoga school, but after going to great austerity for hundreds of years. So devotional service is what is important. Vyasadeva had compiled all the vast Vedic literature, and he had summarized the Vedic literature in the Vedanta Sutra. Still Vyasadeva was feeling very, very unhappy. So Vyasadeva went to his spiritual master Narada Muni on the banks of the river Saraswati, and he said, "Why am I unhappy even though I've compiled this vast Vedic literature?" And what did his guru say? Because he is not exclusively glorified bhakti. So without bhakti, you cannot be satisfied, doesn't matter how much knowledge you may have. So bhakti is the real path. These other paths are just like beating an empty husk that has no rice on it. Now I don't know if you know husk for rice is inside a husk. So after you take the rice out, the husk is empty. Thank you. So if you beat an empty husk and look for rice, there is no rice. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, all these other processes like jnana, karma, yoga are just like beating an empty husk which is no rice. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu was emphasizing the Sanātana Goswami that mental speculation is not the answer, yogic perfection is not the answer, karma yoga is not the answer. The answer is bhakti yoga. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, just like a prisoner is, they handcuff him and they tie him with a chain, isn't it? So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said that because we have forgotten Kṛṣṇa, we are bound around the neck by the chain of Maya. And because of the chain of Maya, you cannot move. You are just stuck in material activities. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, does not matter, even if you do your duty, but if your duty as member of different varnashram is not related to their bhakti, then it is useless. So Kṛṣṇa Bhakta, Kṛṣṇa Surya Sama Maya Hayandika, Yaha Kṛṣṇa Taini Maya Dikara. Where there is Kṛṣṇa, there is no room for Maya, Caitanya Mahaprabhu said. Just like where there is sunshine, there is no room for darkness. So the point that Caitanya Mahaprabhu is making is this, that unless you come to the path of bhakti, unless you personally execute devotional service, just speculative knowledge will not give you the answer. You may even be a member of the Brahmin community, but unless a Brahmin is doing service to Kṛṣṇa, he cannot go back to Godhead. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Sanātana that Maya is very scared of Kṛṣṇa. Maya cannot stand in front of Kṛṣṇa, just like the thief. The thief will never stand in front of the policeman. So similarly, Caitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanātana, as long as one is engaged in service to Kṛṣṇa, Maya cannot touch him. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained what Maya does. What does Maya do? It makes you identify with the body. And it makes you identify with the body and the senses and your place of birth. And thus, you forget what the real mission is. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu said, one is immediately released from the clutches of Maya. Even prays to the Lord. What? My dear Lord, I've forgotten you for so many lifetimes. Now I want to surrender to you sincerely. Please accept me. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained how a devotee, how somebody falls in bad association if he is with materialists, and how if he uses his intelligence properly, he can come to spiritual life by rejecting material temptations. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing how important it is to take the process of devotional service and how we should approach devotional service without material motives. So, pure devotional service is the goal of life, and the importance of pure devotional service has been emphasized by Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his various instructions. Just like we saw in the story of Dhruva Maharaj yesterday, what did we see? That Dhruva Maharaj initially had material desires, isn't it? But then, when he saw the personal form of the Lord, he got so much spiritual pleasure that his so-called material desires vanished. So similarly, Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained that once we take to the process of devotional service, our material desires will disappear and one will be totally satisfied. Just like when you're hungry and you eat prasadam, then your hunger goes away and you're totally satisfied. So Caitanya Mahaprabhu explained how that unlimited living entities who have forgotten Kṛṣna and are wandering through the different species of life, but by chance one log of wood flowing down the river gets stuck on the side and it stops to flow down. So the living entity by chance comes in contact with the pure devotee and he understands the importance of bhakti. So Kṛṣna is in everyone's heart as a Cheta Guru. Cheta Guru is the spiritual master within and he guides us according to our desires. Just like why is it that all of you have come to Kṛṣna consciousness and not the whole city of Kyiv? Why is it today for this lecture there are only about 100 devotees from Ukraine? And what is Ukraine's population? Who knows? 50? So why is it that there are only 100 people listening to the lecture and not the other 50 million people of Ukraine? Why are they not listening? Because they don't have the desire. So based upon your desire, Kṛṣna guides you to Kṛṣna, Kṛṣna guides you to Rajni, Kṛṣna guides you to the bogus yogi, Kṛṣna guides you to the material path, based on our desire. So it is by great fortune that we get this opportunity to take advantage of the process of devotional service. And therefore we should take advantage of it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, by associating with devotees, by associating with pure advanced devotees, one is inspired to go on to proceed with the process of devotional service. So Jat Bharata said, devotional service you cannot get just by austerities, or penances, or worshipping the deity, or by strictly following the rules and regulations, but you can get devotional service by serving an advanced Vaishnava. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Sadhikaya. So Lava Matra means for 1 minute. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanātana, even for 1 minute, if you get the association of advanced devotee, take it. He said the value of a moment's association with the pure devotee cannot be compared to reaching the heavenly planets. What about worldly benediction? Because in a minute's association with a pure devotee only talks of Kṛṣna, reminds you of Kṛṣna, thinks about Kṛṣna. In a minute's association with a pure devotee, he will remind you what you should do, what is the purpose of life. Shraddha Shabde Vishwa Kahe Sudra Nishchaya Kṛṣna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Kama Kritayaha. So this is a very important verse. Kṛṣna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Kama Kritayaha. So in this verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanātana Goswami, one who executes Kṛṣna Bhakti, he is discharging all his obligations to demigods, family members, society, etc. This is very important because people often accuse us. You people are running away from the society, you don't take care of your family, you don't take care of this, you don't take care of that, all over the world, not just in your society. But they don't understand this. When you pour water on the root of the tree, all the trees, branches and twigs are utterly nourished. And when you put food in the stomach, all parts of the body automatically gain strength. Similarly, by serving Kṛṣna, one automatically satisfies all his obligations. And a Vaishnava, by executing devotional service, he develops all good qualities. Just like you see a Kṛṣna conscious devotee. Before you came to Kṛṣna consciousness, I'm sure many of you were engaged in all types of illicit activities, isn't it? But now, you may not even be able to quote one Sanskrit sloka. You may not even have read the whole Gita. You may be just associating with your Hare Krishna friend for a week or two or for a month or two. But just by chanting Hare Krishna, you have given up all these other qualities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, a Vaishnava, by associating with another Vaishnava and executing transcendental loving service, he will develop all good qualities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, one must have unflinching faith. So if you execute devotional service with firm faith, then all good qualities will develop. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes the 26 qualities which a Vaishnava must have. So now we will start the discussion of the 26 qualities. That you all understand Caitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings of Sanātana Goswami. In Krishna consciousness there is a lot of philosophy. And unless you know the philosophy, you cannot survive in Krishna consciousness for long. You may be the best kirtan man. You may be very fond of kirtan day and night. But unless you know the philosophy, you will not be able to do kirtan also for very long. So spiritual philosophy is very important. Prabhupada did not want us to be sentimental devotees. He wanted us to be logical, scientific devotees. Sentimental means, oh, I like the devotional service, I'm going to shave my hair, I'm going to wear saffron clothes. But I must understand the reason, the logic, why I must give up Maya. So once you take a Krishna consciousness after understanding the logic, then you will never give it up. So the 26 qualities are as follows. Kripalu Vakritadroha Satyasara Sama Nidosha Vadanaya Midu Suchiya Kinchana Sarvaraka Shanta Krishnaika Sharana Akama Niha Sthira Vijita Sadguna Nitabhuk Apramata Manada Amani Gambhira Karuna Metra Kavidaksha Moni. Kripalu. Who knows the meaning of Kripalu? Merciful. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanātana, a Vaishnava must be very merciful. Because we all know Vaishnava means being merciful. But what is real mercy? Like in India, all rich people, they have so much money, so they will build hospitals or schools in name of their father or mother, and they think this is mercy. In New York, there's an area called Bowery. Prabhupada was first living in that area when he first went. In that area, everyone is a drunkard. So when you walk in that area, a drunkard will come up to you and say, hey, give me some dollar, I want to buy a beer. So some people give it and they say, this is mercy. So what is mercy? That is the question. So mercy means to give people knowledge by which they can stop sinning. Because unless we stop sinning, you cannot become free from the cycle of birth and death. The reason the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another is because of his desire to commit sinful activities. Therefore, real mercy according to Caitanya Mahaprabhu is to give people knowledge by which they can become spiritually healthy. Just like, suppose you are diseased, you go to a doctor. Now there are two solutions. One is the doctor may just give you some temporary cure, or the other may be that the doctor will find out why you got the disease and give you a cure so you may never get the disease again. So Krishna consciousness means finding a permanent solution, not temporary solution. So a devotee must always be merciful. Akrata droha. This is another quality of a devotee. Akrata droha means humble. Humility is very important. Akrata droha. Prabhupada, this story, some devotees may have heard it before, but I have not told this story to the Kyiv devotees. So I will tell you this story. Prabhupada at one time was in the pharmaceutical business in Allahabad. Prabhupada used to prepare drug tonics. So Prabhupada had prepared a new formula. It was a health formula, health tonic. So Prabhupada had shown it to his godbrother. Prabhupada said, see, this is a new formula that I have prepared. But Prabhupada's godbrother said, Abe Babu. Prabhupada's first name was Abe. Abe means fearless. He said, Abe Babu, I don't want this health formula. I want the formula to develop love of God. So Prabhupada said, the formula is known to me, but the medicine is not ready as yet. And what was that formula? Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi saishununa amanina manadina kirtanadi salahari. Chant the holy names in a humble frame of mind. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said a Vaishnava must be humble. So Prabhupada has said that humility is a formula through which you can develop love of God. Another quality of a Vaishnava is Satyasara. Satyasara means he is truthful. A devotee must be truthful. We must be very honest in our dealings. We should not think I'm a devotee now, I can do anything hacky and packy, doesn't matter. So the first aspect of truthfulness is to follow the spiritual master's instructions regarding chanting your rounds. Then the instructions about regulative principles. So we must be truthful. Not that when your godbrothers ask you or devotee ask you, are you doing your rounds, Prabhu? Yes, yes, I'm doing my rounds every day without fail. And actually you don't do your rounds. So we must be truthful, because if you're not truthful, then how can you please God? I may be able to bluff you, and you may be able to bluff me. But can we bluff Kṛṣṇa? There are many witnesses to every activity that you and I execute. You want to hear who these witnesses are? This question was asked by Devahuti to her son Kapila. Devahuti said, my dear son, I have heard that the living entity is moving from one body to another body. But how was it decided what type of birth he is going to take? So Kapila Dev said, Karmana deva netrena janto deho papataye striya praveshta udhanam pumso reta kanashrayaha. Karmana. Based upon the activities that the living entity performs, which are all netrena. Netrena is Sanskrit word which means eyes. All these activities that we execute, they are being witnessed by several witnesses. So, one witness, of course, which you and I know is the Paramatma, Lord in the heart. But he is not the only witness. There is the sun god and the moon god. Any sin you perform is either in the daytime or in the night. So in the daytime, the sun god is watching everything. And in the night, the moon, the eyes of the moon are everywhere. Then there are the stars, and nobody can live without air. Then there's the Vayu, the air god. So all of them are watching everything. Now the modern materialist will say, this is impossible. This is just storybook. They're just trying to scare you. How can the sun god watch everything? There are some countries on this planet that have satellites on the sky. And through those satellites they have cameras. And through those cameras they can monitor everything that is going on all over the world. They may move the troops in India from Delhi to Punjab, but the American satellite will pick it up. So if the karmis can create such an instrument to monitor everything, you think Kṛṣṇa cannot? So everything that you and I do is being witnessed by many demigods. And all these demigods testify, yes, this man committed this crime. I saw him committing it. Just like in a court of law, unless you have some witness to your crime, you don't get convicted. In many parts of the world you may murder somebody, but unless somebody can testify that you have murdered, you are not going to be convicted. So similarly, there are several witnesses to all the activities that we perform. So if you are not truthful, then you may be able to cheat your spiritual master, somebody else temporarily, but eventually Kṛṣṇa is watching everything. So honesty is the best principle. Prabhupada used to give an example. Once a teacher in a classroom told the students, please go home and find out who is your father. So the student went home, he told his mother, my teacher wants to know who is my father. The mother said, son, if you really want to know the truth, I do not know who your father is. So the son went and told the teacher the next day, my mother said she doesn't know who is my father. So Prabhupada said, this is honesty. So devotee must be truthful. Then sama. Sama means equal to everyone. We do not divide the society into friends and enemies. A devotee must be equal to everyone in the sense he is a well-wisher of everyone. He has no enemies. Like Prahlad Maharaj, his father wanted Prahlad to be trained up in making friends and enemies. But Prahlad said, I am not interested in friends and enemies. I'm just interested in serving, in being equal to everyone. So devotee must be equal with everyone. Not that he says, oh, this devotee I like, I'll go at book distribution with him. But this devotee I do not like, so I won't talk to him. Nidosha. Nidosha means faultless. Now this doesn't mean that a devotee doesn't make any mistakes. Just like if we asked all you devotees, all of you know how to play the harmonium. maybe one of you may know how to play the harmonium. So it is not that the devotee has no such faults, or he's in knowledge of everything. But what this means is that a devotee, he is spiritually fixed in the goal of life. And the mistakes or the shortcomings which are there may be there, but he is spiritually fixed. Like Gaur Kishodas Babaji, he could not speak one word of English. He would just chant the holy name sitting next to public toilets, so nobody could disturb him. But he was fixed in his dedication to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we should be faultless in our goal to realize. Vadanaya. Vadanaya means magnanimous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was addressed by Rupa Goswami to be the most magnanimous of all incarnations. Magnanimous means a devotee is always ready to help. That's like sometimes in karmi life you may have had friends, or even now you may have some friends who will do anything for you at any time. You phone them at 12 o'clock in the night, say, Alexander, take me to the airport. He'll come in his car and take you. No. So he's always willing to oblige. So devotee is magnanimous in that he's always ready to give this Krishna conscious knowledge to others. You cannot be moody. Today I'm in a good mood, I will preach. Tomorrow I'm in a bad mood, I'm not going to preach today. The Chaitanya Charitamrita states how the living entity, if he doesn't take to human life, he doesn't take to Krishna consciousness in this human life, he may not get human birth again for millions of births. So devotee is always thinking, if I don't give this next person Krishna consciousness now, he may not get a human birth for millions of years. So let me give it to him now. So a devotee should be always magnanimous. Mriddu. Mriddu means mild. So a devotee is generally mild. Sometimes karmis, they are in very powerful positions. They like being rude with everyone. They like being proud. But if a devotee is humble, then he will automatically be mild also. A devotee should be very gentle in his dealings with others. Suchi. Suchi means clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Just because you're a devotee of Krishna doesn't mean you dress a very dirty, you wear dirty clothes, or you live in a dirty environment. Suchi means clean, and cleanliness is next to godliness. So cleanliness is practiced at two levels, internal and external. Internal cleanliness means cleansing of the heart. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the formula, Chaita Darpan Marjanam Bhava Magdvagni Nirvapanam. By chanting the holy names of Krishna, the heart becomes cleansed. Also we should live very clean. We should dress up cleanly. We should dress up neatly. The room where you live, whether it's brahmachari ashram, brahmacharni ashram, grihastha ashram, it should be clean. Akinchana. Just like, for example, in the Bhagavatam it is said, Shra Vedvara Hosra Kare Samsuta Purusha Pashu Nayat Karna Pato Beto Jate Nama Gadagajaha. It says that the gross materialists are like dogs, hogs, camels and asses, because their activities are like that of these animals. So suppose you go on the street for book distribution and you say, Mr. Dog, please come and buy this Bhagavad Gita. From one angle you are speaking the truth, because that man's activities are like that of the dog, but this is not presented in a palatable manner. So the truth must be spoken, but the truth must be spoken in a palatable manner.
Yeah, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sanātana that he is able to purify even the place of pilgrimage. But previously Sanātana said that he is he's slave of the lust. And he's asking, how quickly he became a devotee.
Sanātana Goswami became a devotee, got inspired to devotional service as soon as he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One meeting, 1 minute. The moment Sanātana Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he knew devotional service is a real thing.
How should we distinguish between the advisors of Paramatma and the advisors of intelligence?
Till you get to the pure stage, both the Paramatma and the intelligence cannot be trusted. Therefore, in the impure stage, one must follow the Guru, Sadhu and Shastra and not be independent. Because you will manipulate in such a way that the Paramatma will tell you exactly what you want to do. When you don't want to chant Hare Krishna, the Paramatma will tell you, no, don't chant. So just like you cannot trust the intelligence of a small child, You can't trust the dictation of Paramatma and intelligence till you become pure.
If a devotee somehow should make some decision, and but he has no association with Guru, he doesn't know scriptures, and what should he do in such case? Simply to try to avoid to make any maybe important decisions. So
then you have sadhu nearby, and one can always be in touch with Guru, and one should see the Guru regularly.
Does it mean that we shouldn't shouldn't make some decisions important?
I said the Guru, one should regularly meet the Guru, and if you can't meet the Guru, you can write to the Guru and get guidance. And if you cannot even write to the Guru and get guidance, then you can consult sadhus, certain spiritual personalities. So it doesn't matter where you go, there will always be some sadhus. In other words, you must get all your desires verified and approved by some senior Vaishnavas. Even when Prabhupada used to be with us, he used to say, "Oh, what do you think I should do? What do you think?" He used to get everybody's advice. In spiritual life, one should never be independent. Because in spiritual life, you realize I'm fool number one.
May the devotee have long and dirty hairs?
Can the devotee have long and dirty hair? That's his question. No, a devotee should have as short hair as possible. I never keep hair. I only keep hair when I'm coming to your country. Otherwise, I never have hair. So you may keep hair if it's absolutely necessary. Otherwise, at least for brahmacharya, for men, it's not necessary. Women, they have to keep hair. We don't follow the Buddhist process of getting the woman to shave up also.
There are some predictions that in September of 1991 there will be some flood of cosmic energy on the earth. And what will it be good for us or not?
Don't worry about these so-called predictions which are nothing but speculations. Just chant Hare Krishna. So when you're chanting Hare Krishna, whether living or dead, it's the same for you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.